Hi guys, it's Fred here, and in today's video I'm going to explain why stretching won't fix your lower back pain and the method that I've used to help over 300 clients get results without stretching. So let's jump into it and I'll explain the method and how you can implement this into your rehab or into your daily routine. So why hasn't stretching worked for you previously when you're trying to fix your lower back pain? Well, I've got a little diagram here to walk through, and this will just explain the reasoning and essentially why you're focusing on the wrong thing. So with lower back pain, people typically take two routes to fixing it. So with your route, if you're just focusing on stretching, you're trying to stretch or unknot so-called tight muscles. So this is the route you want to take. The route that I get people to take is to focus on movement at the spine and at the body as a whole. So we're focusing on bones as opposed to muscles. Now, the underlying factor, or what we're actually trying to fix, isn't just the tight muscles. We need to think why they're tight in the first place. And both these things are trying to fix a brain injury, because with lower back pain, the brain has responded to a particular movement or a particular activity that you've done, and it has essentially shut off a certain area, which is the lower back. So when you complete a certain movement or you do a particular activity, that the brain responds with pain, and it prevents you from doing that because it believes you're unsafe doing that movement or that activity. So with static stretching, it's still trying to solve the same issue, because essentially when you stretch, after you stretch, you get short-term pain relief, and you get short-term improvements in mobility and range of motion in that area. So potentially you can bend over a bit more easily, your back feels a bit looser, but those changes only last for a short period of time. So they might only last for 5 to 10 minutes after you finish stretching. Whereas if we focus on bones and actually improving the movement quality overall at the spine and at the whole body, as opposed to just isolating particular muscles, we will get a bigger brain and central nervous system response, which will initiate longer term changes. Okay, so again, typically if you focus on static stretching, this will be in the mode of this, and you will be prescribed typically to do it every day or every other day. Okay, what I do with clients is I get them to do variations of med ball throws, scoop passes, rotations 3 to 4 times a week. I will attach the some of the exact circuits I use with people in the description down below. There's no free training, there's no link to buy any of my products. I will just attach a free link on Google Docs. Okay, so have a look at that in the description down below. I will attach a example and some progressions of the med ball throws I use. And the reasoning behind these is, again, we're focusing on creating movement at the spine. We're not just isolating particular muscles with static stretching. So with the med ball throws, you've got quite a few different movements at the spine. So you've got flexion, which is, imagine this is a person here. So you've got flexion, which is bending over that way. Then you have extension, which is going back that way. And then you have rotation, which is obviously turning side to side across there. So that's already 3. And then you've also got side flexion, which is, again, this is only 2D, but again, bending, so reaching your arm down on each side. So that's already 4 movements there. So if we're static stretching, we're doing very, very little, because we're focusing on a particular muscle group, let's say the muscles in the lower back, because they feel tight, but it's not attacking the root cause of the problem, which is a more global thing of the body. It's how well you actually move. So with med ball throws, we can do med ball throws, rotations, etc., in all these different planes of motion. We can incorporate a full body approach. We can get lots of different things moving, because that is actually the root cause of the problem, and that will cause a larger brain and central nervous system response, as opposed to just targeting one specific muscle. I hope that makes sense. Because you've got a bigger input, because these movements are bigger, they're more global, using more muscles, the brain will respond, it'll have a bigger response, and therefore you'll get bigger reductions in pain, more longer term reductions in pain, and longer term improvements in terms of movement quality as well. Whereas if we're just sending signal to the brain that we're just stretching one particular muscle group, and it's not actually It doesn't relate to how we move or how we function at the spine, which is doing all these things in day-to-day life. So like bending over, picking things up, being in awkward positions, then it's not going to initiate that same response. And so you're only going to get very short-term changes in pain relief. So I would do, again, you're being told to do the stretches every day, which is ineffective, and you're not going to be consistent with that. I would do the med ball throws. I give people med ball throws to do 3 to 4 times a week. And then what I would do with these med ball throws is I would start off, if you think about your max intensity that you could throw a med ball, which is 100%, I would start off at between 25 and 50% of that 100%. So you're staying within a 0 to 3 out of 10 pain score. So if you imagine there's a scale of 0 to 10, 10 is the max pain you could have experienced, 0 is nothing. I want you to stay within that 0 to 3. So you might get a little bit of pain, but that is not a bad thing. Don't worry about that. But to be safe, I would start within this range of your max power. And then what I would do week by week, or every other week, or every 3 weeks, depending on how your pain responds and how confident you feel with the movements, then I would increase the power. This is what I do with clients. And I typically start off with a higher volume of med ball work, and then I decrease the volume and increase the intensity. So very similar to how you use normal training, but just in a rehab setting. So again, check out the link in the description on the Google Doc, and it will run through all this with how I program the med ball throws. So you hopefully understand now why bones and focusing on more global movements is way more effective than just statically stretching like singular muscle groups. This is a really good quote, and it applies to this in so many ways. It doesn't matter how hard you row, it matters which boat you get in, which is one of Warren Buffett's quotes. And essentially, it applies to this because, again, if you're just static stretching, you're in the wrong boat. You're not focusing on the thing that matters, which is creating long-term changes to the brain and the central nervous system, because that is the root cause of the injury. Just stretching muscles, you're going to get short-term changes, which will last 5-10 minutes, maybe half a day, and you're just going to go round and round in circles. So again, with anything in life, but particularly with rehab, if you're not in the right boat, it doesn't matter how hard you're trying. So again, this will get you long-term changes to the brain and central nervous system, and this will get you short-term changes to that. And so therefore, this will equal long-term pain relief, long-term, and then this will equal short-term pain relief. And not just long-term pain relief, but also improvements in your movement quality and your overall performance. And it's sustainable because you're only having to do it 3 to 4 times a week with rehab. Whereas this, you get short-term pain relief. It doesn't improve your overall movement quality because you're not attacking global movements at the spine, which we're designed to do. And you're having to do it every day, which a lot of people are going to struggle with, because we're all busy. So to be consistent with that, most people are going to struggle. And as well, it's the wrong method. So it's like a double barrel negative there, almost like you're doing the wrong method and it requires more effort to do that. So hopefully that all makes sense. Any questions, drop them in the comments down below. Check out the free doc I'll drop below on the med ball throws. And if you're interested in what we do at FCR from an online rehab point of view, if you are struggling with a lower back injury, just check out the link in the description.